Hey folks, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be installing a new camera in my camper van, a security camera that is. And it's not through choice, it's through necessity, because the cameras that I've been using for the last 3-4 years, the Neos smart cameras, which are positioned up here, and I generally have one angled down towards where the driver seating position is, so it detects anybody getting in there. And then I have one up there pointing down towards the side sliding door to detect if anybody gets in there, and when they're not in use they just fold away on these magnets and that's it. But on November the 19th, Neos are discontinuing the app, so that renders these cameras completely useless. So I've been and bought one of these TAPO cameras. Let's see the box here, and this model is the C520WS. And after a bit of research, because there's so many different types of cameras that TAPO do, I decided to go for this one. And here it is. It's not much bigger than I don't know, a can of cola. And I've got to think of somewhere to mount it, but the reason I went for this one is that it's got so many features within the app. It's got an alarm, it's 360, so I can swivel it round and look in different directions. There's so many features. I'm going to go into them shortly, but I've just got to think of somewhere to put this. So I thought of having it up here over the bench seat, and because the camera revolves through 360 degrees from that position, I'm going to be able to see what comes in this way. If I leave Rio in the van on her own, I can swivel it round and see if she's on the front passenger seat, or I can swivel it down and see if she's on the bench seat. And also, one of the other features of this camera is it's got AI, and it can detect between cars, between people and between pets. And so that means I can leave the camera on the alarm, and hopefully it'll when I'm not in the van and Rio's in the van on her own, I can leave the alarm on, and it should be able to detect her and not trigger the alarm, but it should be able to detect when people come in and set the alarm off. So right, I'm going to get on with installing this now. So I've got the camera mounted up there, pretty straightforward. The cable, which is permanently connected to the back of the camera, runs up inside here, and I managed to loosen this bottom part of the cupboard and push up these plugs around the back before reattaching the bottom part of the cupboard, because these plugs are quite big, so you do need a bit of space to get them anywhere. One of these plugs is a Ethernet socket, which I won't be using, and the other one, where is it? This one is the power supply. So that goes into this adapter and this plug here, and as you can see, that's a 3-pin socket. So I don't want to be running this off the inverter. I want to run this direct from my 12-volt power supply. Now these cameras do actually run on 9 volts, and I've been reading on the forums that other people have connected them to 9 volts without any hitches, without the camera getting warm, and without it failing or causing any problems. So I'm going to do that. So if you do it at your own risk. But I'm sure there's like a 12 volt to 9 volts little transformer you could put in there if you wanted to, but I'm just going to connect this direct up to my 12 volt system to start with and see how things go. The black wire that's connected to this plug, there's just 2 wires in there, so one's a positive, one's a negative. As you might be able to tell, one of them has got a white stripe running down there, and that is the negative, so obviously the other one's the positive. So I'm going to cut this wire now. I'm going to leave it quite long just in case I decide to move the camera in the future, and get these wires stripped off. So these wires are really thin, so I've stripped them quite long, and I'm going to fold them over a few times and then connect these little connections. So now I've connected up this new power supply to this little fuse board I've got in here, and on the box it says that the adapter output, I'll get that level, is 0.85 amps. So I've found this little 2 amp fuse. It's a grey in colour, and I'm gonna pop that in there. So it turns out it's blowing these 2 amp fuses. As soon as I connected the power supply up, the fuse went. So I've found a 3 amp fuse, which is purple in colour. If I can see what I'm doing, put that in there, and there we go, that's fine. So 3 amp for the time being. So the next thing to do is scan the QR code with your phone, and that comes on the paperwork here. Well, that didn't go to plan. As soon as I got onto the app and started trying to get the camera working, it seemed like the camera was completely lifeless. There was no power on it, no lights, no nothing. It was just completely dead. And so I'm just wondering if it's been overloaded with power, or maybe it was just faulty from the start. I have no idea. I will never know. But I've sent it back, and I've got another one. And this time I'm not going to just plug it straight in like I did before. So I bought this little buck converter off eBay, and this is a 12 volt to 9 volt converter, DC to DC, and the output on it is 2 amps. And so I'm going to put this in line with the camera, and hopefully that will sort it out and it'll work properly. And just to test the camera this time, I've plugged it into the 240 volts from the inverter over here. As you can see, we've got a light on there. So, and I've been on the app and it all works fine through 240. So hopefully I'll get on with this, and hopefully it'll work. So that's all connected in. It's a little buck transformer there, connected into the fuse box. I've got a 3 amp fuse in there, and the buck transformer's 2 amp. The original plug gives out 1 amp, and it still doesn't work. There are no lights on there at all, no power, completely dead again. So when I test the voltage coming out of this buck transformer, you'll see there, get the probes the right way around. I'm getting 9.5 volts, and then when I connect the camera up, it only shows 4.6. So I'm going to have to put that one down as a fail. The very first fail on One Van and His Dog. Well, there you go. So I'm just going to have to run this camera off the inverter. I have got a plug socket under this bench seat, and I've got some trunking up in the cupboard at the top there where I can route the cable down into this area underneath the bench seat, so I can do all that. It just means I've got to remember to turn the inverter on every time I go out, which isn't ideal, but there you go. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.